Assalamualaikum to our panel, Dr. Cik Mah and Puan Hayati. My name is NORSYAZWANI binti Mak Hashim. My student ID 2020990901. Today, I with my friends Afizatul Asrim and also AMIRA want to present HTM 606 Hospitality Research Method. For this research, we selected respondents from among the youth that we will discuss, which is at Kelantan. We focus on the topic of research, which is factors influencing food intake post-COVID-19 among youth in Kelantan. Deficiencies such as persistent nutrients after COVID-19 may outcomes including delayed recovery as well as an increase of the hospitalization ratio 2022. According to the World Health Organization (WHO), people with condition after COVID-19 sometimes refer to themselves as long haulers. There are most people who suffer from COVID-19 and have fully recovered. It's possible that some people will experience various effects such as medium and long-term, example fatigue, shortness of breath, and cognitive dysfunction. This situation will cause dietary practices to change because there are certain factors that affect it. This research is studied based on the information and also taken from data received from youth in Kelantan. That the research conducted get results and also more detailed feedback in completing this research.
There are three types of problem statement that we have in our research, which is the first one is paying less attention in time eating. For the example, youth in the Kelantan, they are paying less attention in time eating, which is they only eat when they're hungry. This activity can make the youth not getting enough nutrition. It is because the person need three time in a day to eat. For the second problem statement that we have is difficult to get fruit and vegetable. It is because the youth is afraid to go to the supermarket and store to buy the fruits and vegetable. For the third problem statement that we have is food. The price of food is more expensive. After post-COVID, the price of healthy food is more expensive compared to the canned food. So the youth prefer to take and buy the canned food. But they don't know the canned food is really highest in salt, sugar, and other than that.
Next, we move to the research objective. The first objective of the research are to investigate the food availability and accessibility during post-COVID-19 among youth in Kelantan. The second objective is to evaluate the food affordability during post-COVID-19 among youth in Kelantan. The third objective are to identify the awareness of nutritional quality of food during post-COVID-19 among youth in Kelantan. Next research question. The first research question are, how does food availability and accessibility during post-COVID-19 affect food intake among youth in Kelantan? The second research objective are, how does the food affordability during post-COVID-19 affect food intake among youth in Kelantan? The third research question are, how does the awareness of nutritional quality of food during post-COVID-19 affect food intake among youth in Kelantan? Next, we move to the literature review. For research framework, the independent variable for this research are availability and accessibility, food affordability, and awareness of nutritional quality of food. And for dependent variable in this research are food intake.
Next, let's move to hypothesis development. There are three hypotheses. The hypothesis 1, there is a positive relationship between the food availability and accessibility and food intake. hypothesis 2. There is a positive relationship between the food affordability and food intake. And hypothesis 3, there is a positive relationship between the awareness of nutritional quality of food and food intake. Next, let's see the research approach. This study was conducted using quantitative methods. Quantitative research employs strategies of inquiry such as experiments and survey, and also collect data on predetermined instruments that yield statistical data. Meanwhile, type of research design, we choose correlation. Correlation research describes and explains the relationship between two variables. For population, our group chose to do the respondent is among young who stay at Kelantan at time of correlation data, which is age 15 to 24 years. We do not decide whether it must be boys or girls because we collect it as random. The way to do the calculation to get the sample size is we use Daniel Soper, because using this it can calculate the minimum required of sample size. After that, we will get the sample size, which is the data of is 76 respondents that can be used for the sampling frame. The technique that we choose is simple random sampling.
For the third research methodology is instrumentation. In our research, we use questionnaire, which is in the Google form. The link of the Google form will be posted on the social media, which is WhatsApp, Telegram, and Instagram. The questionnaire has 5 sections, which is the first one is demographic profile, second, actual food intake, third, availability and accessibility, fourth, affordability, and the last one is awareness of the nutrition quality of food.
Data collection plan for the research are used in Kelantan, and for data analysis, we analyze this data using SPSS version 28, descriptive statistic, and Persian correlation. For this research, there are 5 variables in questionnaire. The first variable are demographic, and the format for this variable are nominal and ordinal. The second variable are actual food intake, and the format are multiply choice. Next variable are food availability and accessibility and affordability. And the format are ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. The last variable are awareness on the nutritional quality of food, and the format for this variable are yes and no question.
For the demographic profile, which is there are many variables that we have. The first one is gender. We use female and male for our research. The second one is age, which is start from the 15 years old until to 24 years old. The third one is job. There are 5 things in job, which is the first one is student, non-employee, self-employee, part-time, and employee. We also include the frequency and percentage in the table. As you can see, there also about the demographic profile. For the 3 next of variable is the fourth is race, which is the category of race that we use is Melayu, Chinese, and India. For the other thing of variable is weight and height. We also include about the frequency and the percentage in the table.
Based on the outcome between 2 variables, there is a consideration negative association are equal to negative 0.562, implying a strong link between the food availability and accessibility and food intake. As we can see in the slide, the affordability and food intake are negative association, which are equal to negative 0.81. Based on the outcome of the awareness on the nutritional quality of food, there are considered negative association are equal to negative 0.221.
Furthermore, let's look summary major findings. For Objective 1, to investigate the food availability and accessibility during post-COVID-19 among youth in Kelantan. Relationship between their food availability and accessibility and food intake is negative can be shown based on the correlation result, where the value of the correlation is negative 562. Based on the findings of the result correlation, where the correlation is negative 081, it can be shown that there is negative relationship between the food affordability during post-COVID-19 among youth in Kelantan. The table above provides answer to research question by showing the hypothesis has been supported and accepted. And the last for Objective 3 shows where the correlation is negative 2 to 1, it can be demonstrated that there is a negative association between the awareness of nutritional quality of food during post-COVID-19 among youth in Kelantan. Most youth fail to meet the dietary requirement by skipping regular meals, imbalanced diet, and regular food intake. So the three objectives in this research show no achieved. Next, let's look limitation. The limitation of the study are those elements of the design or technique that impact or influence the application or interpretation of the result of the investigation. The time needed to gather the data for the result is one of the constraints for completing this report. To find many respondents is quite difficult because this questionnaire was only for youth in Kelantan. Although it is easy to spare questionnaire through social media, not all of them want to contribute to this research. The researcher had to figure out how to collect data of respondents. Therefore, the researcher needs to use the technology source such as media social or website platform to conduct this study, obtain respondent data which is result of research. Furthermore, recommendation. The first recommendation is necessary to expand sampling technique. It is important to give validity and reliability to research findings for the purpose generalization to all youth in Kelantan. The second recommendation is conduct the same research which is in a new context, location, or culture. It is more likely that the researcher can address the research problem and also can improve future studies. And the last recommendation is reassessing and expanding theory, framework, or model that researchers have encountered conducting research in the future.
The implications of this research are for academic, it can make as a reference and it also can give future concept to a literature on food intake. And for managerial, it help youth change their eating habit and lifestyle and to spread awareness about good eating habit.
For the last one is conclusion. The goal of this study is not been achieved. It is because after we getting the result about the questionnaire, about the factor that influencing food intake post-COVID among the young in the Kelantan, we conclude that the characteristic and all variable that we use is negatively correlate. So we not achieve the goal of this study.